simple, but they do a really great job, and I really like it because it's educational and whatnot. And so they do a colouring competition. I mean, how simple is that? So they put up a blank colouring template. They say download it, colour it in, take a photo, post it back up. You know, it's great. Who'd have thought that we'd still have colouring competitions in this day and age, and it's fantastic. So that's one of the things that they do really well. And the other one the other competition that they ran was Where is Becky Today? So it's a bit like a Where's Wally? Which is a fantastic way of educating the kids, possibly getting them in the outdoors. Because you could say, where is this monument? Where is this tree in this area? You know, and the kids have to go there. You know, there's so many ways that you can use, technology and social media to get kids into the outdoors, and I'll talk a bit more about that towards the end. So they do a really good job. Here's the competition for Becky was at the French Dressel Quiz, which is really fantastic. I think that's very simple but effective. So they're one that does well with kids in the outdoors.
Who are they aiming at? Since children, can't be on Facebook, are they trying to do parents?
Well, I guess that it's done with parents' supervision. Yeah.
That's still lots to see on Facebook about it.
What's up?
Parents are making comments.
Yeah. It's obviously done with the supervision of the parents, but
is there an age? What is the age?
13 and over. Yeah.
But with my son, I'll show him pictures of him on Facebook.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, kids are human beings too, man.
They might be famous.
Why is it? So I've talked a bit about listening and responding. And so this is where we sort of get into the world of hashtags. Now, this is a hashtag that I like, NZ must do. So it's things you must do when you're in New Zealand. So it's fantastic for all the outdoors people. And these are all Instagram photos with the hashtag NZ must do. And so, if you're an independent traveller and you're looking around, you might sort of think, oh, I'm going to social media, what should I do when I'm in New Zealand? Rather than looking at Lonely Planet, trawling through a whole book, and they've got a few photos here and a few photos there. They're looking at what people are doing right now. 7 days ago, the beautiful Auckland Gardens, etc., etc. And so this is being picked up by New Zealand Tourism, and they're pushing it quite a bit. But there are other tags. And also, we use the same thing here. So the ONZ Roadshow tag. So these are all tweets, but mostly me and not ONZ. Bit of Sport New Zealand there that I jumped in with the ONZ Roadshow tag. So we've added that tag to anything about this. There's a check-in at Skills Active. So you can use tags to look at what people are saying, and this can be both good, and it can be a bit bad. And this is where I pick on Doc. So when Doc was making the restructures, they got hit, and it's important. It's an important case in point. Is that you may not be on Twitter, but people may be talking about you on Twitter. So you need to be on there. You need to be on there and see what people are saying. Twitter is a really important platform. If you've got anything to do with government at all, you need to be on Twitter, because politicians are slammed, comments are made, all kinds of things are done on Twitter in the political sphere. It's really important for politicians to be aware of what's happening on Twitter. And slogans, these hashtags, are things that comes up that are usually a protest or a response to something that's happening in the world. But here you've got trends. These can be quite trivial, or they can be quite serious. So Boston bombing would have been one, perhaps. Boston bomb. I don't know what happened around that. But if you typed in Boston bomb, it would probably come up with the hashtag, and you can click on that and just look at that topic, what was being said right there and then. So hashtags are really important. And there's lots of ways of listening, which Sport New Zealand does very well. So let's just say Jimmy Greenwood, who's the social media guy at Sport New Zealand, he helped me put this together, and he's fantastic. So I've used a little bit of his stuff. So this is Hootsuite. So this is similar to Sprout Social. It's a social media dashboard. Does all the things that Sprout Social does. Good lord.
It's afternoon tea.
Is it afternoon tea?
Oh yeah.
All right.
It's already there for when you want it.
So here, this is the Sport New Zealand Twitter account. So he's got all these other accounts. You can see them. That's High Sports New Zealand Twitter. These are athletes Instagram Paralympics. So that's his full-time job. He's literally on social media 8 hours a day when he's at Sport New Zealand. But that's a national organisation. So he uses this software to filter all of this information. So here this is his home feed, and that's everyone he follows on Twitter and Facebook. This one is a keyword. So he says this keyword Sport NZ. So he wants to check what conversations Sport NZ is being, what conversations Sport NZ is a part of. This is NSOs, that's National Sports Organisations, so he's following, that's a feed of all of the national sports organisations he's following. And this is Regional Sports Trusts. And it goes on, there's more. If you scroll, and you can create as many as you want. Now you can create lists on the Twitter website itself, which these can access. And curating lists is very important because it helps you, if you define them by subject or by type or whatever, it helps you, get to the information that you need at that time very, very fast. You might have one list for national media. You might have one for outdoors media. You might have one for charity, charity organisations. Well, whatever your world is, you might want to have one that's specifically about travel tourism. You might have one that's about safety, regulations and all that sort of stuff. And you can create that content. And it becomes a great way to filter down lots of information, lots of news. And again, these this has the same sort of entry system. You have a free account. You can get different plan levels, and you can get them half price if you're a non-profit. It's just the same as Sprout Social. It's just a different way of what you're doing.
What was that one called again?
Hootsuite. Hoot as in an owl, suite as in a bedroom suite. Again, I'll send all of the links to all of these out, but no, it's fine, take it down. I'll send the links to these out, yeah. So this is Sport New Zealand's flowchart for responding to media. Now, flowcharts are great, but you don't always have a flowchart in front of you. Maybe you're on the road. So that's why I think the room full of people analogy is important again. It's your party. Someone starts heckling you at the party and goes, you're an idiot. Yeah. Start swearing. And you get that on Twitter or Facebook and you're like, oh God, what do I do? It's the same. You're in the room. He's an idiot. He's shouting out. He's being rude. He's shouting out at your party. How would you respond to that? You can ignore him. Because everybody else in the room can see it, and they're going, that guy is rude and an idiot. So you don't need to respond. But you can on social media, you can block and report people. You can get rid of them if you want. And so you can kick the guy out of your party if you don't. I'd say that as a last resort. That's definitely a last resort. Now remember, Sport New Zealand is like a national organisation. They are a government body, so they have to be a bit more sober about everything than anyone else. Smaller organisations, especially, I'd say DOC would have to be fairly strict. But a small tourist operation, it comes down to brand and personality, how you deal with people online. Can be a little bit different.
Sorry to
interrupt
you. Do you think, I'm putting this out to everybody here, do you think it's acceptable not to reply to someone? Because there has been incidences on Facebook where someone says something and it's one-sided. So as the representative for the organisation, I'd like to respond to them and say, hey, thank you for your comment. This is what we've got to say about it. Because I always find that if I see a comment on another page that hasn't got a response, I oh well, the person that wrote that must be right then.
Well, that's the thing. So you have to determine. You have to have a flow chart, something like this, and go through the process and determine how you deal with it. And it's different for everyone. So here, negative comment: is this a troll? Check bio. Right? Does everyone know what a troll is? No?
Troll.
Troll.
Little thing living under a bridge.
Yeah. Right. So there's this saying: don't feed the troll. So a troll, if you feed the troll, that's what it wants. It wants you to feed it so it comes gnarly and eats you. So the point is that if someone is saying something negative, don't feed them ammunition. So you have to be very careful how you respond. We had an instance when Yosa and our comms executive, in probably our first month post them, we had this horrible situation where trends, basically the media ambushed the Prime Minister on safety and whatnot at Trends this time last year, and it was kind of weird, why your own media would cannibalize the most important industry to be something. This was utterly bizarre. But anyway, Yosan deleted a tweet that she thought might have been controversial, and that actually caused more controversy than the tweet itself. Never delete tweets, never, ever, ever, because people will call you up on it. And that's the thing. If it's something that's a bit controversial, it's Twitter, it's social media. There'll be 500 posts about it in 2 days. It'll be forgotten. So you have to be very, very conscious about what you say. And if you're going to say something, you have to decide whether, is this a troll? Check bio. So that means go on social media, check out a profile. Does this person have followers? Is this, is he worth listening to or responding to? If he is, if he's not, is this a critic or a serial predator? Yes, no response unless addressed directly or comment was factually incorrect. So you can respond, refer to the facts and correct the relevant info. You don't have to have a position or a statement. You can just say, look, here's a link to the facts as we understand them. You don't have to say, you're right, you're wrong. You can just give them more information.
Yeah.
I think always remember you're talking to a person. That's really important. Again, you're in the room. You're in the room with people. So always be polite. Always, people might have feelings that are hurt, whatever. Especially when it comes around safety and if there's an accident or whatever. In the first instance, you have to show your respect and whatnot in the area.
Something that I do as well, especially when there's some kind of criticism and I do want to reply to it, which I always do, is I ask one of my colleagues and ask them for their opinion on it. So, sometimes you can read something, you're not talking to the person here, you can't read their, what they're trying to say. So sometimes people can write things and it sounds quite strong, but it's actually quite soft coming from them. So I ask someone else, do you think this is strong? Do you ask for an opinion?
I think that's good, but I think policies are better than.
Oh, absolutely.
Because I think you need a policy, you need a flow chart, and you need a policy outside of this, and you need to make sure that your staff read it, because social media, you can't prevent them being a part of the conversation either, and you can't be watching over their shoulder all the time. So it's really up to you to train your staff properly. And then for our industry, it's really important because of the issues around kids' privacy and safety and whatnot. So it's very important. We have a social media policy, that I can pass on if you want to use that as a base of your own. There's heaps out there. If you have a PR person, just phone them up and ask them. It can be worth it. Because it's your business, your brand reputation. It's something very, to be very considerate about. Again, I'm sure Doc, do you guys have a
policy?
Yeah, and do you do training for everyone? Is it part of the orientation? Yeah. So I mean, for in the newspaper, we have very strict social media policies. Like, you couldn't take a photo inside the office. You couldn't have post, office antics on social media, but for security reasons more than anything else. If any of our staff were on social media and they were talking about their work, their profile, they had to say, I'm editor of sports news at Times, views at here are expressed are my own, and that's conditional. You can't stop people from being on social media, but as soon as your business name or your entity name is used as in their profile or whatever, you do have the right to say views expressed by everyone. So yeah, that's a good place to start. It's a very conservative one, very conservative approach. There are more conservative, but you can be a bit more loose depending on what kind of organisation you're with. So Hootsuite's good at. I showed you sort of I'll give you a very quick overview. It's Sprout Social of all the different sort of graphs and whatnot you use. Hootsuite does the same number of retweets and where they came from, number of clicks on content, so you can see there's a spike. Obviously there was an event tied to that. So you drill it. Hootsuite has the sentiment reader. I see Jimmy chose High Performance Sports New Zealand, which is obviously someone won a game recently or whatever, so it's reading the social media and sort of saying, this is, these are lots of nice words are being said about us. So it gives you an idea of the temperature reading. And that's better for big organisations, national organisations, if you want to sort of feel the temperature of what's being said in the social media. I know you didn't show Sport New Zealand because that's mostly red, or at least half red, because they're such a broad organisation, they're always upsetting someone all the time. And that's unfortunate. But it's a useful tool.
So people contact me, and they obviously read the Twitter because they've got a special date they want to go for a trip on. But they're not followers, so are they just randomly?
No, you can go again. That's the thing with the hashtags.
See Twitter
Yeah, you can go into Twitter and you can search for anything on Twitter. You search for people, search for subjects, search for hashtags, and they can, unless you've locked down your Twitter to be a private profile, then anyone is public, so anyone can find it. But
so if they just typed in rafting, it might make them up.
Yeah.
Somewhere on the list.
Yeah, that's right. So this is a bit of a light-hearted look at how it can go wrong. So do your research before you put out hashtags. So the official Twitter hashtag for Susan Wells' new release is Susan Allen Party. I tell you, it's hard to look at that and not say it the wrong way. Our social media team are either very naive or geniuses. And they got 7,500 retweets. Alright, so yeah, Susan Allen Party, not really the best hashtag to come up with. But it's just a sort of a light-hearted thing. So you need to like look at it from other angles and just be careful. You know what you're doing. Do your research. So I want to come back to engaging offline. QR codes or quick reaction or quick read codes are a fantastic opportunity for engaging offline. Now, does anyone not know what this is?
I've heard of it, but I don't know how to.
Right. So this has worked every single time at all workshops. Trust me, it has. Honestly. So I've got this scan thing, and it should. Oh, that's great. There we go. Right, so it's a marmot. So that's a photo of a marmot. So it activates an action on your phone. Now, what this can do is really just limited by your imagination. This is a good place to start. Shane actually found this one, and we used a few other websites to create these. Goes unitaglive.com, and on there is a great resource called the 10 Commandments Guide. Good resource for learning about QR codes. Now, QR codes are a brilliant way. The uses are many. So you can use them for tracking advertising. You can use them for, imagine creating an orienteering course using smartphone. So, or geocaching. You got 10 locations in your outdoor centre, and you tell them, right, there's the first one. Scan that. You've got your code. That gives you the clue to where the next QR code is, and it says, go 10 paces west. Look for the landmark, that's where the next QR code is, and then boom, they go along, like a treasure hunt or an egg hunt sort of thing. So you can do that. You can do competitions where you say, to win this prize, go to the Maori Monument at the back of the park, take a photo, scan it, post it, whatever. You can do heaps of things with these. They can take you to a website. They can take you to a form where you can make a reservation. So you can have these. You can have a QR code on your stand-up banner at your trade show, and it can say 10% discount off of a tour if you book now. Click this, book now, or get a catalog emailed to you. And it can activate an email right away, and you can have send a text message. It can take you to a location on a map, and it can take you to a YouTube video. So QR codes are fantastic. You could use them for tracking advertising as well. You could use them. You could put them on your leaflets. If you have an advert for an event, where you have an advert in a newspaper, you've got a banner, you've got something on your car, you've got some flyers. If you have a different QR code on each one, you can track where people read that QR code. So you can use them for tracking on advertising as well. You can put one on the back of your vehicle, scan it, like us on Facebook and get 10% off. Give them an incentive beyond just accessing social media or whatever. It can take you straight to a Facebook page on your phone, on your Facebook app on your phone, things like that. You can use it to activate great social media activations. So it's really fascinating. And here, I wanted to use this as a good example to carry the discussion online. I've created this group called the Marketing and Communications Forum for the Outdoors community on LinkedIn. So if you join the Outdoors New Zealand LinkedIn group, any questions you've got, put them up there, and I will answer them online. And that way, everyone who's been on these roadshows will benefit also. Rather than just sending me an email and me answering individually. And we can start talking to each other and discussing issues that are relevant to this community, and looking at solutions. So, on LinkedIn. So, kind of proving a point too, and I hope it works again, is that we've got this one's been a bit less successful. It really depends on the projector. It's better if you've got that's not going to work today. Alright. So basically, you've got a huge long URL, which is really hard for everyone to remember, but if you have a QR code, you still want to keep the URL short, because actually the complexity of this pattern, it depends on how much information you're asking the QR code to read. So if you have a very short URL, the complexity of that pattern will be much less, and therefore easier to read. These things don't work well on projectors, but they work much better on a Pro. So that would take you to the group on LinkedIn, or send you an email giving you a link. So I'm going to send everyone invites via email to this group, and we can carry on that discussion. So I'm going to make a little pitch for us. So we offer exclusive services to our community. We offer social media and marketing services, strategy, obviously workshops and training like this. We can train your whole organization. We can do one specifically for your organization or whatever that is. And we can set up and manage some social media. We're setting up some stuff for some other organizations at the moment. We can do website and graphic design. And we all do this at a reduced rate for our community. So rather than agency rates of $150 to $200 an hour, we're talking about the mid around $50 an hour. It really depends on what the service is, but around there. So it's a lot cheaper than getting an agency. And we understand the solutions and whatnot are relevant to you. We understand your industry a lot more. These are some of the members we're working with. NZRA, we do all of their comms, we do the newsletter and press releases. and we work with them on their events. Wild Earth, Shane just did a series of YouTube videos and slideshows for them, selling their outdoor courses down in Dunedin. Forest and Bird, we did some advertising with them and for them. In Zoya, we're working on them with their marketing. To Araroa, the long pathway, we're going to be setting up their social media dashboard and whatnot and get them going. And Dunedin City Council, we're going to be doing a bit of training for them in terms of social media. They've got a Move Me sort of participation program. They spend thousands and thousands of dollars on print advertising, and it's not gone very well. And that's also a trend I'm finding, is that print's just really not working for people these days, and it's horribly expensive. It's a challenge. It's still very relevant. It always will be. Print will always have its place, I believe. But I think that the people are still relying on those old methods and not utilising social media enough. Wellington City Council, we're working on an outdoor events website with them and a couple of other people, which is very exciting. I think actually on that note, events in Facebook, the events function is something that everyone should take much more advantage of. Questions? And we can stop here, you have a break and grab a very dangerous looking piece of paper. This tea
Coffee in the room we were in this morning.
Alright. Is it not in the staff room? It's actually in.
I think it's still in there.
Alright. And just think of any questions or strategies you need help with, and we can look at specific solutions for you from that. Okay.
How do you make a brain sort of hold all the information? Especially an old one.
Okay.
And how